Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Spectrum State. Spectrum State has been providing paranormal investigators with Spectrumlite infrared lights for years. To get your Spectrumlite, go to www.spectrumstate.com. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter at AU Paranormal. Prepare your cameras for your new Spectrumlite, an essential piece of equipment in the field of paranormal investigation. Light up the world of the unknown with Spectrum State.
Coming to you live from the depths of the unknown is Incubi Incarnate broadcast. So turn up the volume, turn down the lights, and listen to the best hour of paranormal talk radio. Here's your host, Bill Bachman.
Good evening and welcome to the Incubi Incarnate broadcast. I'm your host, Bill Bachman, and joining us all the way from New South Wales, Australia, is Garry Bellenger, the founder of Spectrum State, and our sponsor. Hello, Garry.
Well, good morning here and good evening there, I believe.
Exactly right. 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, and it's what, 11 a.m. there?
Exactly, Bill. Yeah, 11 a.m., yes. It's a bright and sunny 23 degrees here.
Holy cow. We're going to use up your lunch hour for the show. We appreciate it.
Most welcome, mate.
All right. There's a million things to get to. I want to go in. Will you tell us what Spectrumlites are? That's the thing I want to start with.
Yeah, well, the Spectrumlite is something that I came up with several years ago. I personally, on investigations I do, paranormal investigations, I've always used high-definition Sony camcorders, such as the SRE models with the hard disk drives, anything from 30 gig to 120 gig. I have about 6 of them in my kit, and for quite a few years I was using the Simmerlite, the SIMA infrared by Polaroid. I was also using the expensive Sony one, which can sell anything up to $150 on eBay or Amazon, and even those lights didn't throw a lot of light, so I thought there's got to be a better way. So a few years back now I started prototyping, playing around with IR infrared LEDs with varying strengths, varying configurations, various wiring options to try and get the best power with the most economical use out of battery drain. And after several prototypes, actually more than several, I believe I came up with a light that, it certainly surpasses anything on the market. I've had some comments about the Phantom light and a few of the other competitors out there that this one blows them out of the water. So it's evolved, and I've added special features to it over the last 3 years, and I must say it's exceptionally bright. And if anyone's been to my YouTube channel, they can see me demonstrating these online.
That's awesome. Do you have a background in engineering, or how did you come up with these ideas to make your own lights and do that? I mean,
well, Bill, it was. I don't have a background in. I'm definitely a gadget guy and a hands-on guy who will have a go at anything, even if it involves almost electrocuting myself.
That happens.
Yes. No, I won't, mate. But I've never been afraid to have a go at anything, to be truthful. As long as I wasn't in danger, and as far as doing these, you can't really do much wrong. Initially, a few years ago, I went through many LEDs by burning them out. It was too much power for how many LEDs I had in there, and I think to make the light and to make it consistently good and the quality that it is, the way that's sort of come about is because I actually personally make every single light. I don't No one else drills a hole. No one else solders a wire. I do every process of that light, including the packing. So you're guaranteed a consistent product all the time, and it's something I personally use, and I have sold hundreds of these in Australia prior to branching out in America. So, and it's just started to take off in America, and I hope anyone that's listening, I'm sure there is, has actually purchased one of these, because I've probably had about 50 of these IR lights go over to the States in the last 3 months, I'd say.
That's awesome, and I hope everybody's listening, because all I've heard is good things about them. And don't you take a lot of pride in making every single light? You don't have a crew making your lights. You don't have a factory making your lights. Like you're doing every single thing. There's got to be a lot of pride in that.
There is, Bill. I must admit, obviously this isn't my full-time job. I do a 40-hour week with Australia's largest privately owned company, and it's quite demanding. And the lights is more like what started out to be a hobby, to be truthful, because I was only selling them to paranormal groups that I'd go on investigations with. And but I do take a lot of pride, and and as I said, if any of those listeners have received light off me, they can tell simply by the way it's packed how much pride I take in it. And every single LED is tested by me before it gets mounted into the project box. It's then tested again with 9-volt battery in there several times before the actual finished product goes to the customer. So it's a lot of satisfaction, and I must admit it's becoming a lot of work. Like yesterday, for example, I got home from work and I had 2 orders off eBay and 1 off Amazon, and each light takes about an hour and 10 minutes to make.
I can say that from personal experience that knowing that you're accountable and knowing, you're not like the CEO of a company making materials. You're accountable for everything. So I've done things like that, and I know that extra attention to detail goes into it, and I can assure everybody that when you package something, it works to the best of its ability. It's 100% ready to go. So that means a lot.
Yeah,
when you're accountable.
It is, and I had one guy, and if he is listening, his name's Jason. I won't say his last name, but he purchased one off me on Amazon probably about 5 weeks ago, and he contacted me, said, "Great light, awesome light." He said, but somehow he busted the battery, the 9-volt battery clip on the back, and I said to him, "Mate, it's pretty hard to break these things. Like, I've used mine plenty of times, and I've never had a return." And I said to him, "Look, I've actually just found a new supplier in battery mounts, which has a hard wire going straight to the terminals rather than a soft wire. It seems to be about 1 millimetre deeper, which makes the battery go in a lot easier." And I said to him, and he probably thought I was kidding him, I said, "Mate, I will make you another one, and I'll send it to you with the new battery mount in there." And I was true to my word, and I sent it off to him. So if James is listening, and I think he was from Texas actually, he would have had his light by now. So yeah, I certainly stand by what I make, and if someone is seriously disgruntled, they would always get some sort of replacement. So I'm a man of my word too. Not that anyone out there really knows me, but I'm a very passionate man, tenacious, and if I set my mind to something, I always do it.
I believe that. Just from the short time I've known you and everything I've read and everything, you're an up-and-up guy. You're a good guy. And while we're talking about these lights, there's a bunch of things I want to get to. But while we're talking about the lights, you have a new light coming out I want to talk about.
Yeah, look, I do. People are always after more infrared light in the paranormal field. There's no question of that. I mean, even myself, I've got lights in my garage that could light I was going to say a stadium, but not quite that, but they could certainly light a hall. And I've got a new light. I was sort of inspired by you guys there, and I thought, you guys are going to a lot of trouble to tee up this time slot here, especially with the time difference. And I thought, what can I do that might make someone who has used the Spec 12 IR. And what I've decided to do, currently the configuration that we've got on there is 12 10 millimetre 300 milliwatt infrared lights at 850 nm. So what that means is each light is each LED is 300 milliwatt. It's 10 millimetres big, the individual LED, and it's 850 nm, which means it emits the glow similar to a security camera. If you go for a 940 nm or a 950, it's almost invisible to the naked eye, but you really slash down on your power or your infrared brightness. So this new light that I've come up with for you guys, and which is the one that Bill will be giving away in the giveaway. I'll be having 8 of the 300 milliwatt lights, which will give you a really deep center focus of infrared, which almost creates that sort of hotspot that people would know about when they have their Sony on. They can see it in the viewfinder. There's like a hotspot there, and basically around the edges it's a little bit dark. This light here that I'm making will actually have in each corner a 5-chip infrared LED, which is just incredibly powerful. They're about twice as powerful as the standard infrared LEDs I'm putting in currently. So what that'll do, apart from making a better picture on your camera or your camcorder or your full spectrum camera, it will actually throw a lot more light for you. And the benefit of these lights are, if you do want to go into like a stealth type mode, sure, you can see the glow front on looking at the Spectrumlite. But if you want to place your camcorder in a corner on a tripod and be more discreet, you cannot see any red glow side on whatsoever from these. So yeah, the new light, Bill, will have the 5-chip. It'll have 4 5-chip LEDs in each corner, and it will have an incredible light throw. So I'm very, very proud of it. It's a little bit more expensive to make, obviously, because those 5-chip LEDs are well over $1 each. It doesn't sound much in the scheme of things, but when you're buying 500 to 1,000 at a time, like I do, it ends up being quite costly.
Yes, and with that news of the new light, we're excited to announce that the contest for the new Spectrumlite, we're going to extend it through October, and the new light that's going to be given away is that new light that Gary's been talking about, and we really appreciate that, Gary. I know there's more expense involved, and it's a better light, and we appreciate you extending it another month and allowing us to give away the very first one that's going to be used. That's a big deal. It's awesome. We appreciate it.
Yeah, look, Bill, you guys will get the first one. There's no question of that. I'll even mark it 0001 if you like in white pen on the inside. You guys will get the first light. So your show will see the first new Spectrumlite. It'll follow shortly after that on Amazon. So the American buyers, they can go to Amazon and get that. There's some good reviews on the Spectrumlite. I've only been selling that since April this year on Amazon. It's quite expensive to sell on Amazon, including postage. So I really don't make a hell of a lot out of each light that goes to Amazon, but it's more about a volume type thing and getting the product out there.
Since it is expensive to do it that way, you have a place on your website, www.spectrumstate.com, where people can can make orders, or is it when they do it on there? Is it just through Amazon or eBay, or how does that work? What's the best way for them to try to order a light from you?
Well, I'm selling a few lights to people who are following me on Twitter, which is awesome. Obviously, they've been following me for a while, and there's a trust that's built up there. I might mention her name, Mama Owl, if she's listening. She's bought a couple off me, and sight unseen. Obviously, she's heard the reviews, and paid by PayPal. I mean, it'd be fantastic if people would contact me directly, because I could even do the light a little bit cheaper, because I lose about $15 on postage for every one I send to Amazon.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they only cover $5 of the cost, would you believe? And it costs $20.10 to get a 250 gram parcel to the States. Yeah. There's costs everywhere. I mean, it all adds up, and just like you were saying with $1 more expensive light, per light and postage and everything. So the easiest way for people to order a light is just to follow you at AU Paranormal on Twitter and do it that way. Would that be the best way? Look, Bill, that would be awesome. That is definitely the best way to get a light for me. And if any of your listeners out there do want to do it that way, I will actually sell the light to you $10 cheaper than I sell it on Amazon. I'll still get it to you within 12 working days. It will still be the same product. You can pay via PayPal. So there's really no risk there. I think it's more trusting. And I think once people get to know me and get to follow me on Twitter and see what I'm about, that I do other things other than lights, and the word gets out there. Like, I know a few of the paranormal groups in America, they'll buy one off me, and then you'll get a repeat order for one or two. So it's just about building that trust, Bill. I've got it here in Australia. There's no question of that on these lights. But Australia's a population of 23 million, and I think in Texas they've got about the same population. So America's a big country with plenty of Spectrum lights to go out, mate. Exactly right. And we want your lights to go out. You've been awesome to us. And I want to know what happened that made you just start making Spectrum lights? Was there a particular incident? I think yes. I was doing an investigation up at Maitland Jail, which is about 1 hour north of where I live, and it's a really vast prison. It's extremely haunted too, by the way. That's not just me saying it. It's well documented if anyone wants to Google Maitland Jail, spelt Gaol in Australia. There's some long corridors there, obviously, and I've got to say the Sony lights did nothing. They were okay within probably a space of around 3 meters, but the Spectrum light went a lot further once I got it developed. So I think in the search of looking for video evidence and camera evidence, you need more infrared light, and that's exactly how it came about. It's really freaking industrious of you to need something and then just create it. You know what I mean? Like, I've known a couple of people like that, and they're really successful. So I know you're not far into this, but I know that you have the ambition and the industriousness, or if that's even a word, I don't know. But you're solving your own problems, and that's good on you. I mean, that's good. Well, I think I think if you need something and there's something quite not like it out there, as I said, with the Polaroid one and the Sony infrared one that is now obsolete, by the way, the Sony one. That's why they're selling so expensive on eBay. But the infrared light throw is just terrible on them. And, thought there had to be a better way. It just, obviously the more infrared light you've got, the video that you're shooting in the dark corridors of where you're investigating, if you've got a nice, strong infrared throw, obviously your picture's not going to be as pixelated or grainy. There's a much clearer view when reviewing your evidence. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And if anyone ever I have not heard anyone buy a Spectrumlite and go, that was a waste of money. And buyers these days, they're so vocal about things that they want more than they pay for, and they do get it with
exactly.
this. And I think at the price, I think I don't think it's overpriced, and but people can come directly to me, and I'll gladly give them a discount bill.
That's awesome, and we'll definitely promote that on everything that we have on our side.
Cool.
I want to ask, just on a layman's term, I know you're really, all the technical aspects of that part of it, but just as on the layman's terms, what does the Spectrumlite do? I mean, what is that? It's not like a bright light, like a spotlight that you shine. So explain to us what it does. Okay.
Well, yeah. In layman's terms, what it does. Most paranormal investigators have got what's called a Sony camcorder or a Bell & Howell or a Vivitar, and I'm sure listeners would easily identify with those brands. As I said before, my personal preference is anything to do with Sony high-definition hard disk drive camcorders. You can still pick them up as cheap as $180 on eBay for a 30-gig one. Now, those cameras have a feature called Night Shot or Super Night Shot or Night Shot Plus. It's a switch which throws your Sony camcorder into an infrared camera. Now, the Sony camcorder has a little 1 or 2 infrared LEDs mounted at the front of it, which if you look down the bottom just below your lens, you'll see there the LEDs. Now, with the Spectrumlite, all you need is your standard camera bracket. That mounts to the bottom of your Sony camcorder or your Bell & Howell. The Spectrumlite runs off a 9-volt battery. You simply click that into the back. There's a toggle switch on the back, which has a rubber water-resistant cap on it, and throw the switch. And as soon as you throw the switch on that, you'll see the increase in power versus what you're getting now is it would have to be 6 times stronger than what you're getting. There's no question of that. So quite simply, they're just little 10mm infrared LEDs mounted into a project kit. Everything's soldered in properly, wired properly, insulated properly, and there'll be no circuiting this. Now, infrared lights do not last forever, but you'd get 100,000 hours plus out of these LEDs. So, and again, even toggle switches never last a lifetime either. But these are things that can be replaced if need be. But in all seriousness, the one that I made for myself originally all those years ago is still going strong. I just try and make stronger ones these days.
Oh yeah, there's we talked about the new stronger one that's coming out, and the one that we were originally going to give away on the show. But those aren't. You have more than one Spectrumlite. I mean, you have a line. Is that correct?
I do. It seems to be the Spec-012 IR. Now, obviously, Spec is short for Spectrum State, and it sounded good.
And
it does
sound awesome.
Yeah, Spec. It sounds like it's right up a spec, which it is, of course. The Spec-012. 012 is simply 012. There's 12 LEDs in there, so that makes sense. The IR is infrared. Now, that's the most popular model, only because it's selling, between $45 and $50, depending where you buy it from. But I do others. I've got other ones which range up to $70, except I don't promote them as much because they take me so long to make, and the demand for them. I'm sure if someone was here with me and they saw the one that holds 36 LEDs, so that's 3 times the Spec 012. 36, it's 3 times as powerful as the standard one. They'd be absolutely blown away. That sells for about $70, but I don't promote it because each one of those, again, you're looking at serious man hours. That's at least 2.5 hours of handwork on those alone, because keeping in mind it's very tough to sometimes drill in the plastic. You have to be very careful that you don't crack it. So in some cases I actually have to hand ream some holes with tapping threads. So, but I can also make custom-made ones too. So if someone came to me and said, Garry, look, make me the best you can that's in reasonable size to mount to my Sony, well, hey, I could come back to you something that's got a dual 9-volt battery on it and all sorts of gear, But again, it gets down to money, really. I mean, but for something you can get for $100, I think they'd be pretty impressed.
Oh yeah, and you're right. When you're talking about man hours and it could take 2 hours. You're talking about 2 hours per light. You're making several lights. It's not like somebody orders it and you sit right down. You have 2 hours in the evening. You have a regular job. I have a regular job. Everybody has regular jobs, and that's very time consuming. When you're making 10 lights a week, even that's another job. I mean, it's entirely a different job.
Look, it is, and look, I've tried. My dad's retired, and I've set him up at my bench at home, and I said, look, I'll give him some very basic jobs to do with the Spectrumlite, and just while soldering LEDs or the switches. And unfortunately, if you don't get that soldering right, or the hole that you created for the Spectrumlite into the project box, and the light's off centre or something, it's not good enough for me. And I feel that if I do it myself, I know what's is going to work, and it's going to work for a long time. So I wish I could pass a few of the especially the mundane parts of making the Spectrumlite. But unfortunately, it's not. Mind you, Bill, if it does take off, I'm going to have to do something, because obviously if I got to the stage where I was selling 30 or 40 a week, but mind you, I could probably give up my day job then too. So
that'd be awesome.
Cool. Yeah. It would be good, mate.
Yeah. I do want to remind everybody, if they're just joining in, we are with Garry Bellenger, the founder of Spectrum State. This has been really informative. It's been a really fun show so far. I want to, I read your blogs and everything, and I want you to go into this Jenny Dixon. I don't know, what would you call it? It's a belief or a, I don't know. But tell us about Jenny Dixon, the beach, the hitchhiker, and the ghost. Your blog, it's awesome.
Well, have you? I'm not sure how far Jenny Dixon spread, but I'm just wondering, would anyone have actually ever heard of the Jenny Dixon ghost on the east coast of New South Wales over there, Bill? Do you think, is that something you've ever heard anyone mention, like over a conversation?
Where I live in the Midwest. I'm in Garden City, Kansas, which is the southwest part of Kansas, and I grew up in Texas. We're cut off. Like, the East Coast and the West Coast are the trendy places, and we're always years behind. But I know that from what I read on your blog, I know that the hardcore people, the really hardcore paranormal people that listen to our show, they will know about Jenny Dixon. I know that much.
Okay. Well, Jenny Dixon, I've been, even before I was living on the central coast of New South Wales, I used to come up here fishing, and 30 years ago, and we would have a few beers down by the bridge and try and catch some fish. And there's the old fisherman down there, because where Wilfred Barrett Drive is on the east coast of New South Wales, that drive leads onto the bridge where we used to fish, and the guys would say, don't walk home that way, or don't dare go down that road. And being 17, 18 back then, it was like, oh, that's really intrigued me, because if someone says don't go there, I will. So, it's just that inquisitive side of me. I've got to check it out. And anyway, obviously I didn't back then, but that story was going around for a while. And basically, what it got down to was in the 70s, the story goes that it was a young girl hitchhiking on Wilfred Barrett Drive, which is the road that runs parallel to Jenny Dixon Beach, as a matter of fact. Some people think it was named after the girl that was murdered on Wilfred Barrett Drive. And it goes back to her hitchhiking. She was picked up by some young guys in a car, 5 of them in a car. They took her, picked her up, brutally raped her and murdered her. And what happened over the years, I think the story got embellished, and it changed. There's several different versions of it. These guys that picked her up alleged that they all met untimely deaths through suicide, car accidents, drownings, and the story went on, and it has been going on for over 40 years now. And on my blog, which you can find at hardcoreparanormal.com, it compelled me to write a story about it. And I don't have a lot of time on my hands with stuff, and if I commit to do it, I will do it. But that story's been something I've wanted to put out there for a long time, because I know there's plenty of stories out there. Just Google Jenny Dixon Beach, the hitchhiker Jenny Dixon, or so forth, and you'll see multiple stories. Now, the thing that intrigued me about that was living only a few kilometres from Jenny Dixon Beach. I can get there in about 10 minutes to the beach there. I thought, let's just find out who Jenny Dixon was to start with. So what I did a lot of research on finding a person named Jenny Dixon between 1950 and 1970. That failed to produce any such individual by the name of that. Upon further investigations, I discovered that there was a schooner that sunk in Cabbage Tree Bay, which is right near Jenny Dixon Beach. That schooner was called Janet Dixon. Now, that was in 1873 or thereabouts. I think 2 lives were lost on that. Two sailors were lost on that. What happened? Janet Dixon, the schooner, became Jenny Dixon, the beach. So there was a big similarity there anyway. So upon researching that, also went through some old police records to search if there was any such rape and murder between 1950 and 1970, and there was no such thing. So basically, it's a huge urban legend. There's no question of that. But the thing is with that is there has been numerous eyewitnesses to a spirit of a young girl walking the desolate road of Jenny Dixon at night. And when I say desolate, you can have a look at that picture that I've got on my website at hardcoreparanormal.com. That's taken during the day. I'm telling you now, there's no street lights out there. I drive down there often. If you break down on that road, you're in serious trouble because it's quite narrow. So there have been plenty eyewitness accounts, including policemen, respected business people, and respected people of the community. So, upon my research, I discovered 2 young girls. They were aged 11 and 18. Their names were Grace, who was 18, and Kathleen, who was 11. Grace and Kathleen Holmes, Holmes. And they were murdered on the 29th of August 1950 on their way to Nora Head Lighthouse, which is right next to Jenny Dixon Beach. Now, that's actually, it just gave me goosebumps then thinking about it, because I had never heard of such a brutal murder up here. And in 1950, the population was only 300 here. So for two young girls to be murdered, it was huge news. Now, this is not me making this up. This is actual fact. What happened then was, having three daughters of my own, the cemetery's only down the road. I discovered the girls were buried down at Noraville Cemetery. So I thought I'll go down and pay my respects, see what's written on the gravestones, etc., like you do. And went down there. I knew the girls were buried in the Church of England section, and there's only 7 rows. Yeah, fair enough, there's about 20 graves in each row. But I did each row, walking down, expecting to find a double plot with homes. It wouldn't be that hard to miss. I couldn't find it. I thought, okay, all right, well, maybe I've got my facts wrong with the cemetery and so forth. So I went to the Historical Society, and they had the third-generation gravediggers book there written by Mr. Mackenzie. And I'm not sure if they do this in America, but in Australia, you have to, gravediggers, I don't know about now, but definitely in the 50s and through further, they actually had to keep their own journal of people they were burying and the plot they were burying them in. And thank you for this information, because I got the book that the Mr. Mackenzie had written, which outlined the plots and who was in them. And I also went to the bereavement officer of our local Shire Council and got some records from there asking where Grace and Kathleen Holmes were buried. Anyway, I came up with the plot numbers and went down there. I still couldn't find them. And I'm thinking, what the hell? And it just pushed me further to go even further. So I let it go a couple of weeks, and I was driving past the cemetery on the way home from work, and they had just buried someone. So I pulled in, and the gravedigger was there. Obviously, they're not using a shovel these days; they're using a bobcat. But
right.
The gravedigger was there, and he was there, and he was reading the newspaper. I said, "Look, silly question, mate, but I would like to know where these plots are." And he said, "I know exactly where they are." He said, he's the grandson of the original gravedigger in this particular cemetery, and he took me up there. And wouldn't you know it, the bloody graves were unmarked.
Huh. But you've done something to rectify that. Is that correct?
We did, and thanks to you guys for retweeting my stuff too, because it really, I had such an empty feeling in my stomach and chest that 64 years, these young girls, 18 and 11, were murdered. I just felt sick in the stomach that they were in unmarked graves, and it really left that empty feeling. So, of course, I went on a quest, as I do, and I went straight to the council, and I said I'd like to fund some stones for these girls. They and I'm sort of abbreviating this too, Bill. They hit it on the head and said, no, because you're not family, you need to find a family member. I said, come on, it's 64 years ago, it's not going to happen. And she said, maybe you could donate a park bench and we'll call it Grace and Kathleen, or maybe you could donate a plaque and we'll put it on a tree. Anyway, being the sort of guy that won't take no for an answer, I set about finding the brother, or a brother, because these girls had 3 brothers, Frank, Donald and Ian Holmes. And I was fortunate enough to meet up with this lady at a talk I was giving at our local library, who had access to lots of information through various websites that she's a member of, such as Ancestry.com, which is a great site, of course. And she managed to find they were 10-pound poms that came from England. A pom is an English person that comes that migrated to Australia back in the 50s. They're called 10 pound because that's how much it costs to get out here. And she found the original ship manifest, which had all the passengers on there, which, of course, the girls were on there, and so were the three brothers and the mother and father. So I now had names. I had the three brothers' names, and also had the mother and the father's name. Of course, they would have passed long ago, so I started with the brothers. And I discovered two had also passed, and there may have been one left with the name Ian Douglas Holmes. So my research took me to search online for an Ian Douglas Holmes. I happened to stumble across a couple of homes, which I called on the phone, and know that they hadn't heard of these people. But then I thought, I wonder, like they used to back in the older days, some people used their middle name as their last. So I tried Douglas Holmes instead of Ian Douglas Holmes. And I found a Douglas, and I called him. And I said, "Hello, Douglas, it's Garry Bellenger here." I said, "This is going to sound rather strange." I said, "But was your father named Clarence and your mother's name Eleanor?" And he went silent, and he said, "Yes." And I said, "Did you have two sisters?" He went, "Yes." "That were murdered?" "Yes." He said, "You've got the right guy. What do you want?" And I said, "Mate, don't hang up." I said, "I want to talk to you about getting some stones on these unmarked graves." And, we went from there. We had a brief meeting at a coffee shop several weeks ago. He wanted to check me out, make sure I was legit. He thought I was after money initially, and since then we've had many meetings, and your channel there, Bill, and Danielle, and a few other people have been retweeting the cause you would have seen for the unmarked stones, Bill.
Yeah, oh yeah, you are a good guy, man. Like it kind of chokes me up a little bit just hearing the whole story, and that's awesome. How about Douglas? Is he awesome with it? Is he
Douglas.
excited? And
did you guys, Bill? You might have seen it. This made front page of our local newspaper last Wednesday. I actually tweeted a picture of Dougie on the front page of our paper. He's got his arms crossed there. He's a balding man with grey hair. If you want to check it out, go to AU Paranormal and you'll see that. Also, you can follow the article. We ended up getting a 3-page spread because what happened, after several meetings with Doug, and he found out I was legitimate, he said, "What do you want to do, Garry?" I said, "If it's okay with you, can I please have your permission to put a stone on the unmarked graves?" And he said, "Absolutely, absolutely." He said, "I wish Mum was alive to see this. It would have meant so much to her." And what happened, I launched a fund on GoFundMe.com, and my goal was to get $2,500. We hit the $2,500 last Friday, thanks to especially one generous individual, but we had 50 unique donations, varying from $5, $7, right up to $100. My own family chipped in. I chipped in, obviously. But on Friday, I got a phone call from, I'm not sure if you guys have got them in America. We have a funeral service here called White Lady Funerals. Do you have them there, Bill?
Not that I know of, but I'm no I'm no expert on anything. It could be here, but I've never heard of it. So.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, this White Lady Funerals they're all ladies that run the funerals. They're very soft, and they handle the situations very well. Anyway, I had a phone call from the state manager from White Lady Funerals saying, "Garry, what can we do to help? We want to be involved." I said, "Well, as you can see, we're $700 short of our target." I said, "I'd like to get that first." And she said, "Done." I said, "You're kidding me, right?" She said, "No, done. We'll have a check for you next week," which I've actually got to pick up the check next week. I'm taking Doug out with me. So that completed the $2,500. Then a company called Edstein Creative Stone, which is a stonemason down at Point Claire, which is around 30 minutes from my place, got a phone call from her. She had read the article but didn't have a chance to call me on the Wednesday. She called me on the Friday, said, Garry, I want to donate a stone. I said, are you serious? She said, absolutely. We want to be part of this because we're part of the community. I said, right, book me in for Monday, which has just gone. I said, I'll be down there, let's talk. So I went down there on Monday and she said, what can we do for you? I said, look, I had a look at some stones. I said, that one will do lovely, please. She said, but that's a single stone. I said, yeah, but it's quite big. I said, you know, I've only got $2,500. She said, no, we want to donate a stone. I said, well, I can't really do that. I said, because the people who donated the money, they want to be part of history and they want to see where their money went. And where their money went in a stone that will outlast everybody who's donated and will still be there in 100 years. And she agreed with that. And she said, well, how about we do this? We'll give you the bells and whistles double stone, which is over 1.2 metres wide compared to a 600 millimetre standard stone. We will gold leaf in right. We'll put gold vases either end so they put flowers in. You can have as much writing or as little writing as you like. We will lay the stone base. We'll do this. The quote came to $5,300. She said, here, we'll just add it all up. And they actually donated $2,800 worth of stonemasonry work on Monday. So the girls are getting a $5,300 stone now, Bill.
That's incredible.
Doug's wrapped. Doug's just... I called Doug after I left the stonemason on Monday. I said, mate, you home? He said, yeah. I said, I need to see you. And I shot over to his place. We had a cup of tea and I said, look, I gave him the quote. He went, what's this? It's $5,300, Garry. I said, mate, that's yours. He said, what? I said, we've just secured it. I said, the stone will be laid November, early December. I said, I'm here with copy here because we need to start putting the inscription we want on the stone. So I think the other beautiful thing too, Bill, with White Lady Funerals, it was a $700 donation, but they said we'd also like to take it one step further and if we can send one of our representatives out there and say some beautiful words and lay some flowers on the girls' graves. So when we unveil the stone, so I've got the newspaper involved, I've got Channel 9 involved, which is the local news. They will be, that'll be going on TV and the newspaper when we unveil the stone, and we're going to have a mini service with all those who contributed. So the 50 people that donated will all be invited. If they choose to come, they can come. And if they don't, they don't. But, you know, they're part of history, and those beautiful girls won't. See, Doug's 80 now, and my scary thing was once Doug dies, that story dies. So
exactly right.
That's going to continue on now.
But now it can live on.
Yeah. Mate, that'll live on. And if you guys ever come out to Australia, mate, you just give me a call and I'm more than happy to take you out there and show you. But
I used to want to go to Australia. Australia was on the very top of my list of places I wanted to go. And then I found out that like 9 of the 10 deadliest things on the planet live in Australia. So I'll just watch history and National Geographic, and I'll call you, Garry, and I don't know if I want to go there. Everything there kills you. Frogs kill you, spiders, snakes.
That's right,
everything
there. Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, funny that you say that, Bill, because you know, obviously living here all my life. I'm 49 years old, but those things you're talking about, like redback spiders, funnel web spiders, brown snakes, cane toads, the frog you mentioned, mate, you never see them. That's the thing.
I'm just kidding. But, I don't want to give Australia a bad thing, but I do want to say whenever they put the headstones on those beautiful girls' graves, will you please send us pictures so we can put it on our memorial page? We have a memorial page on the website, and oh my gosh, we need to put them on there for sure.
Mate, I promise you I will send you that first. I'll get the tweet happening. If anyone wants to follow up that story, and maybe the people that were listening forgot why we got onto it, but if they do want to follow up that story, just go to my Twitter, AU Paranormal. You'll see there. There's some good coverage of it. There's some photos of Doug in there, and as I said, he's 80. But how we got onto that story was through an urban legend came the true murder of two girls, unsolved crime. William Birdle, 25, of Toukley, was charged with it. He was not convicted, let off due to circumstantial evidence. He's now passed away, by the way. Everyone who's involved has passed away, as a matter of fact. All of Doug's family has passed, bar himself. He has a son and a daughter now. But how we got onto that was from an urban legend. Was a real-life tragedy. And which brings me to my theory, Bill, which is, of course, we're talking paranormal, and this has everything to do with the paranormal. Jenny Dixon ghost, or the ghost of Jenny Dixon, the urban legend of Jenny Dixon. It's not true, but my theory is it's either Grace or Kathleen Holmes, because I can tell you right now, those girls are buried within 30 metres of the main road where the ghost has been seen. The girls lived in Pierce Avenue, Toukley, which is only 3 kilometres or 1.5 miles or thereabouts from where the ghost has been seen. The girls wore those type of clothes that this ghost has been seen in. So I'm not discounting that there's a ghost on Wilfred Barrett Drive. It is simply just not a person called Jenny Dixon. If you really want a true life theory, it's Grace or Kathleen Holmes, Bill.
That makes perfect sense, man. And it's awesome. If you ever go on the site, read the blog about just agreeing with everything, and what you're saying makes perfect sense. It's awesome that you can still reason. You have reason. You have common sense and everything else. And there's all this hoopla about Jenny Dixon, and like you said, it was probably named after a ship that sank. But
yes,
so every girl that walks up and down that, or every apparition that anybody sees is Jenny Dixon. But that is perfect. That's exactly what I was talking about on the last blog, and that's awesome. You're tying a lot of things together tonight that I wasn't even expecting. Like, you've been the perfect guest tonight. It's awesome.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. And if anyone ever wants to contact me on Twitter, and with you guys, it's a shame with our time difference, Bill, because I know when you message me and I can't come back, and vice versa, because even this morning, we were tweeting each other at, I was still in bed on my tablet at 6:15 this morning, and it's a shame with the difference, but, it's good to make time and talk about real life things, and I am a black and white guy, and I like to get to the bottom of things, and, the Jenny Dixon urban legend, there's been far too many witness accounts, and not everyone's lying, not everyone's delusional. There's truth behind it, and my heart of hearts and my gut feeling is telling me it's one of those girls. Now, I have run my theory by the brother, of course. He's almost an atheist, but just a sad note, he said, I said, Bill, do you believe in a God, Bill? And he said, sorry, Bill, Doug. I said, Doug, do you believe in a God? And he said, yeah, and he said, Garry, if there's such a thing as a God, my sisters wouldn't have gone like that. And so he doesn't really believe in any afterlife or thing like that. But I told him, I said, he was aware of the Jenny Dixon one because he's lived up here since he was 16. But I run it past him. Bill, Doug, do you think this could be one of your sisters? And he said, absolutely not. And I said, well, just based on my experience in the paranormal, I said, it all ties together for me. And I said, I'd like to believe it's one of them. But, and then we just left it at that. But he's a great man, and him and I are actually kindred spirits, mate, I've got to tell you. Him and best friends. I'm picking him up tonight, and we're going to go discuss the inscription on the stone. I'm going to take his copy for the stone, and I'm going to shout him a beer. And and then I'll head my own way, and I'm going to drop that inscription down to the stonemason tomorrow. And as I said, Bill, as soon as that stone's done, I'll send you some photos, and I'll send you some news clippings as well.
For sure, man. We want to post it on the website, and you're a good guy. I mean, I don't know if Doug follows Twitter or he listens to the show, but he's a good guy. I'm glad he's letting you help out, and I'm glad you guys are going to go grab a beer and stuff. Garry, we're running out of time. Can you I think it would be better coming from you, who actually makes the light. Can you tell them about the new light again and what we're giving away at the end of October?
Yes, well, I guess I'm going to say one lucky listener, because they will be lucky, because they don't even have to pay for postage, Bill. So they are going to be quite lucky. We're going to cover the postage, obviously, and what you'll be getting is the first light, and I really, truly mean it'll be the first light. And I will number that light for you if that person who wins it wants that done. So what they'll be getting is the Spec 012 IR Plus, I'm calling it. And as I said, it's the same as the standard light that people have been buying. That's if you can call it standard. And if any of the listeners have it, they'll know it's more than standard. But I'll be adding 4 5-chip LEDs to them, which is super powerful. So same size, it looks the same, but it's definitely a wolf in sheep's clothing, this one. You'll be absolutely blown away with this new Spectrumlite, and I'm very proud and happy to say that one of your listeners will get the first one.
That is freaking awesome, man. All I can tell you is that we're lucky to have you as a partner on it with us. You've been with us from the very beginning. Everything's been no questions asked. You've been awesome. You're probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met. You're up and up. We love having you as a partner. Hopefully we can keep you as a partner. And all I can say is we're going to promote your products. You do good work. Everything, your craftsmanship is perfect, and you're just one of the good guys. And we love having you with us.
Oh, thanks, mate. I appreciate that. You guys have been awesome too. It's if things are fun to do, it's no problem, and this has been fun, and it's been nice seeing all those tweets go out there as well. So, and if any of your listeners follow me, I always follow them back, unless they're absolute fools. So I'll always follow people back. I don't care if you've got one. Well,
no, that's good. Don't follow tools back. Yeah. But everybody follow Garry at AU Paranormal. Check out his website at www.spectrumstate.com, and go check out his blogs at hardcoreparanormal.com. They're amazing. I was hooked. I couldn't quit reading them. And I do want to say, Gary's right here on the line. He's our sponsor. He's giving away a brand new, stronger Spectrumlite to one of our lucky U.S. listeners. You got to follow them on Twitter at AU Paranormal and visit their website at www.spectrumstraight.com. Follow us, too, at Incubi Incarnate. And for a complete rules list, just click the contest tab on our website at www.incubiincarnate.com. This week's code word, man, it's hard to pick a code word.
Dude, Doug. Dougie, Doug.
Doug. Okay, we'll do Doug. This week's code word is Doug. So everybody, please go in there. Try to get this badass new Spectrumlite. It's going to be awesome. All right, Garry, that was awesome. Thank you for the code word. That was perfect. I don't know if he listens to the show, but maybe